The best part about video games is they're interactive, and so is the PRESSURECAST. If you have a question, comment, complaint, or correction you'd like to hear read on an episode of the PRESSURECAST, email us, pressurecast@gmail.com. That's pressurecast@gmail.com. As always, please rate and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. It's always appreciated. And now, on to this week's episode of the PRESSURECAST. This week on the PRESSURECAST, Microsoft reveals HoloLens, Club Nintendo shuts down, and The Elder Scrolls Online goes free to play. Everything happening in the world of video games is here, now, in the PRESSURECAST. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 62nd episode of the PRESSURECAST, the weekly video game podcast that posts every single Monday. How y'all doing out there? My name's Colin. I'm one half of your Pressure Pals, and across from me, Colin. Hey, Colin, how's it doing? It's doing okay, Colin. How are you? I'm just fine. Yeah, that's good to hear. Okay, let's cut the crap. I think it's pretty obvious there's only one of us in here. What do you mean? Well, I mean, you sound identical, like you're lowering your voice, but come on, there's just one person in the studio. Well, I don't think anyone would have noticed unless you pointed it out, but okay, alright, let me level with you. It's just me today. Yeah, me. Just one of us here. Other podcasts out there, I won't name names, but there are other certain podcasts that would say, oh, I'm the only one here, so I shouldn't record a podcast. Not me, baby. Not me. Unfortunately, everyone was kind of, busy with something else. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. No problemo. I'll just go about podcast doing it solo. I'm not worried at all. Actually, this is the second podcast I've done by myself. If you listen to the E3 special, the first episode, I also was doing a solo brolo right there. And you know what? I don't listen to a whole lot of talk radio. Reason being, it's usually just one person yelling into a microphone. I'm not a big fan of that. But recently, I have listened to some podcasts where it's, hosted by one person, and I thought, okay, sure, yeah, everyone's too busy, so I'll do it by myself. Now, this does not mean this is a regular thing. I've got plenty of people lined up for this show in the upcoming weeks, people that you're familiar with, people that you're not familiar with. It's going to be fun. It's going to grow. It's going to change. Speaking of change, let's talk about the Microsoft event that happened earlier this week. Lots of news out of there. Let's focus on the things that are specifically related to games before we get into the more tech-based news. So during Microsoft's big event, they were actually discussing how your Xbox One will now be streamable to Windows 10 devices. What does this mean? It means that if you have a Windows 10 PC, your operating system is Windows 10, you'll be able to stream your Xbox One over to your PC, kind of like how, I guess, the Wii U tablet works, or more specifically how, the Vita crossplay functionality works. Not crossplay, what do they even call that? Whatever, when you're playing your PlayStation 4 on your Vita, it's going to be like that. But it's not limited to PCs, it can also function on Surface tablets. So a lot of potential there. They also discussed how they will have an Xbox app for Windows 10 that will allow you to actually organize your games. You can check and see which one of your friends are online. And also there will be the game DVR feature. So yeah, pretty fascinating. They're really integrating Xbox into Windows. Now, we haven't really seen this before. Of course, there was games for Windows Live. You don't remember how that went. Not very good. It did not go well, if you remember. But they also are introducing crossplay. There will be some games that you'll be able to buy on Xbox or PC and own them on both systems from a single purchase. And one of those games is going to be Fable Legends. Yes, Fable Legends is actually coming to the PC. Now, if you don't remember, Fable Legends is that 4-player dungeon crawler where a fifth person kind of plays as the dungeon keeper. It looks pretty interesting, and especially from playing as the dungeon keeper, where you have to line up where enemies are going to appear and events are going to occur. It does make a bit more sense to actually, use a mouse and keyboard for that. So, look forward to that. Also, in video game news, they announced that Ori and the Blind Forest is coming out on March 11th on the Xbox One, which is awesome. Can't wait. Oh, as well as the PC. Once again, how cool is that? Ori and the Blind Forest is kind of like a Metroidvania. Kind of looks like Fern Gully. It's gorgeous. Just go look up some pictures. It's going to blow your mind. It's one of my most anticipated games of 2015. I was really looking forward to it after they showed it off at E3 2014, but it just kept slipping. We thought it was going to be at least by like fall or something, but no. At least it didn't get the D4 treatment and get put out without any sort of, press. Whatever the word I'm looking for here. Anyway, moving on. Just so you know, Windows 10 is going to be free to upgrade to for the first year of its release if you own Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 8.1, or if you got a Windows 8 phone. You might be saying, where's Windows 9? If you really don't know, I should point out, there was never a Windows 9. They skipped 9. They went right to 10. Supposedly there was a 9 in development. They decided that 10 was more feasible, so they switched over to that. Now, me personally, even if they give away Windows 10 for the first year for free, then I can just press a button, upgrade, and I'm all good. I don't know if I'll do it. Because there's just too much software that I use that runs really, really, really well in Windows 7. It's the reason I didn't upgrade to Windows 8. I had plenty of opportunities to upgrade to Windows 8. I didn't do it. I mean, I do a lot of, video software. If you obviously watch on YouTube, I'm capturing games all the time. I don't want to have to go through Windows 10 and then just discover that, that one little thing that made all of this work. Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. I don't want that. So, maybe on the 12th month, I'll update, or I guess 11th month, the 11th hour, if you will, if everybody else updates to, Windows 10. But it is a smart move. It's a really smart move, because if you're giving it away, a lot more people are going to update. So, I'm sure plenty of people out there that are listening to this have Windows 7 or 8 machines and are probably not looking to upgrade, but giving it away, not a bad move. So what does this all have to do with the big news of the show? Because all these are interesting. I mean, the ability to, mess around with your Xbox One on your PC, pretty cool. Streaming games, also pretty cool. But the biggest news of the show, by far, nothing even comes close, was Hololens. Now, if you've been under a rock and you don't know what I'm talking about, Hololens is... How do you even explain this? When you see people that get laser eye surgery and they have to wear those big glasses, or if they have like glaucoma or something, they have to wear these big glasses to make sure no light gets in. All right? Big pair of glasses. Well, Microsoft has designed an augmented reality, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a headset. I guess it's a headset that looks like one of those pairs of glasses. You put it over your face, and the way it works is one of the examples that they showed was someone sitting in their living room. They're looking at the table, and their entire Minecraft world pops up on the table. And they're just looking over their creation from 360 degrees, and they can actually interact with it with gesture. I mean, they were talking about some of the demos they were doing. They asked some people to dig a trench to avoid zombies from getting in, or creeps, or whatever they're called. And, with just moving their hand around this augmented reality, they were digging trenches. Now, supposedly it's not that precise yet, but that's incredible. They even show, and this is a presentation video, right? So you take it all with a grain of salt. Someone actually pointed out the guy that's in this video is the exact same guy who scanned his skateboard into the Kinect when they revealed the Kinect all those E3s ago. So, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. But he was walking around his house, and he actually punched a hole in his wall, and he looked through it, and there was the Minecraft world. What? I mean, how weird is this? I mean, I never thought I would see anything like this, this year. But by the way, this is all wireless. There's no wires. It has sound and it has vision, but there's no wires. You're not plugging into a wall like you are with all the other VR headsets. And the descriptions I've heard so far, they had a Mars demo where someone was walking around on Mars and you could look around where the rover was. Supposedly, it isn't like virtual reality. It's not like you're entirely closed off from the world, like you can't see anything. Like you can still kind of see your hands. So the way people are describing it, it kind of sounds like almost like shower curtains to me. You know, if you got shower curtains and you put your hand up against the shower curtain, you can kind of make out where your hand is, but you can't really see your hand. That's what it sounds like with the HoloGlass functionality. They also said that it's going to be used for 3D printers. Like you could actually design an object. They had someone making some sort of tiny dumb spaceship, whatever it was. They were rotating it, and they were looking from all the angles, and they were customizing it. Supposedly, during a demo, they were making a toy truck. This is nuts. All right, this is crazy. I can't even believe this exists. But the most practical application that I think came out of this was they were talking about how Skype functionality. And you might be saying, Skype, are you serious? Skype? You got this amazing technology. You can burst holes through your wall and look into Minecraft, and you want to talk about Skype? But yeah, Skype, okay? So what they were talking about is that someone could be using like a Windows Surface, right? And they would take your call, and they could see everything that you see through your glasses, okay? And the example that they used was like changing out a light switch or something like that, I believe. And this handyman was talking to the people that were demoing the unit, and he was like, oh yeah, you got to pick up this thing right here and move over there. And he was using his Surface to actually draw on reality, like the actual wall of reality. It's so bizarre. So he's like drawing an arrow there. He's circling something else. Like, someone's literally walking up and circling on your wall. And from there, you could actually pin those drawings into your headset. So you're like, oh, I don't need to look at this right now. And then, you press it and it would appear again. And it really is like it's messing with reality. Like you'll be looking around the room and you'll look back and it's still there until you remove it. I mean, I gotta tell you, I used to have dreams about stuff like this, specifically like this, but I always thought, well, with cell phones and text messaging, it's kind of pointless. But to actually hear that Microsoft is developing an augmented reality headset just blows me away. So it's not really related to video games specifically, and it's all based around this thing called Microsoft Holo Studio. That's what's powering this. The HoloLens is just the device. But, seeing that little bit about Minecraft, I don't really know any other practical applications. I mean, I guess if you had a game you were looking at, like on a screen, right? And everything was free of UI, and the UI was surrounding the television, like maybe that. How weird would that be? Your health bar is like on your coffee table, and your ammo counter is like hanging above the TV. I don't know. It could be crazy. I mean, maybe it could even read sound waves. Like you'd be looking around the room and reading sound waves. I don't know. Either way, it's supposed to come out during Windows 10's lifetime. But we don't know when Windows 10 is coming out. So that's not really helpful. Okay, let's move on back to video games a little more. Phil Spencer was at the event. He was discussing the functionality between the Xbox One and Windows 10 on PC. Apparently, Windows 10 will come to Xbox One in some capacity. We don't know what yet. But he was wearing a very particular t-shirt. Battletoads. Now, I tried to look this up, and I could only find a few random websites that had Battletoads t-shirts, but they didn't look like Phil Spencer's Battletoad t-shirt. So, here we are. That's a rare property. They were just discussing how, oh yeah, we would like to revive some of those rare games. And Phil Spencer's wearing a goddamn Battletoads t-shirt. Now, I mean, like I said, take everything with a grain of salt. Remember a couple of years ago when Reggie was just wearing that Samus pin. It was like not the most recent VGAs, but the VGX. And Jeff Keighley's like, "Why are you wearing that Samus pin?" And he's like, "I just like Samus." Maybe that's Phil Spencer. I don't know. I have to imagine Phil Spencer is smarter than that. So are we getting a new Battletoads? I would say definitely yes. There's no confirmation whatsoever from any source. The only clue we have is that they said, yes, we want to make more games based off of rare properties, and Phil Spencer wore a Battletoads t-shirt. That's good enough for me. I don't know what else you want. That's perfect. So yes, Phil Spencer. Battletoads t-shirt. Everyone is freaking the hell out. Moving on to games that have already come out. The Master Chief Collection. Hey, it is still troubled. And earlier this week, oh my god, they released a beta for an update. They are releasing beta versions for their update. Now, this is not uncommon in, I don't know, operating systems, software. But actual games releasing beta updates, console games releasing beta updates, that's a bit crazy. It did come out on January 23rd. It's supposed to help out with matchmaking. They just want to make it easier for when they roll out the next update so they won't have as many issues as they've had in the past. Good on them. I got to give them credit. I mean, it looks ridiculous on paper, but when you see what's happened to this collection since its release, I mean, it's in bad shape. It's still not easy to find a match. I hear some people saying, oh, it's like nothing. You can just find a match whenever now. No way. No. I've tried. No. It's so problematic. You're still waiting for minutes upon minutes on end. And it seems like the game's sold well enough, so it shouldn't be that problematic to find a match. Well, that's going to do it for Microsoft. Let's move over to Nintendo. Okay. Club Nintendo. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with Club Nintendo, but that's the service where whenever you buy a new Nintendo game, you take it home, you open it up, and there'll be like this little picture of people just smiling and laughing on a red card, and it says, "Hey, Club Nintendo! Come hang out at Club Nintendo." What is Club Nintendo? Well, you would type in these codes on your game, and you would earn coins, and then you would get more coins if you took a survey. And you were kind of like, why did you play this game? And it'd always have these ridiculous answers, like, for the excitement, to relax and unwind. I always answered them honestly. It was by the point where I've been doing the podcast and having a website, every single time I have to, it says like, why did you buy this? I have a website. Why did you buy this? I have a website. What is the most influencing factor for you? I'm like copying and pasting. I have a website. That is why I'm buying this. Whatever. It's going away. Why? Well, we don't really know, but over the past year, the physical prizes for Club Nintendo have just gone down and down and down. Now, I've got plenty of coins laying around from filling out all those damn surveys and registering products, but when I look at what they're giving away, it here's what they've got right now. Excite Bike on Wii U. So Excite Bike, the NES game on Wii U. Super Mario Bros. 2 on Wii U. Okay, pretty good. But, it's like everybody's played Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Metroid? Hey, all right. On Wii. Wii. So you have to put the Wii U into Wii mode. And I don't... Oh, my God. Super Punch-Out! Hooray again! On Wii. Donkey Kong on 3DS. The Legend of Zelda on 3DS, pretty good. Super Mario Land on 3DS, okay, not bad. And Wario Land 2 on 3DS. Out of all those, the best of the best, like in terms of like a deal, because like seriously, do you really want to dig out your Wii or go into Wii mode every time you want to play Super Punch-Out? I don't. The best deal right there is Wario Land 2. But they have said there's going to be a ton of physical and digital releases coming out for February. I believe you'll be able to register your items until the end of March, and then you can spend your coins until I think the end of June. Anything that comes out now will not have a Club Nintendo card. So the new 3DS is coming out, no Club Nintendo card. Majora's Mask, no Club Nintendo card. Monster Hunter 4, no Club Nintendo card. Sorry. I mean, I guess, hopefully, they've said that they're going to replace it with something else. Hopefully, it's something that'll be, you'll be able to communicate between... Oh my God, wait a minute. Maybe that's it. Because, they are finally going to have crossplay, maybe, or cross-buy, maybe, maybe, the reason they have to get rid of Club Nintendo is to get rid of the Wii, and that way, when you get a free item on Wii U, you can also use it on your 3DS. Can I dream? I know a bunch of you are just shaking your heads saying, no, Nintendo would never do that. Just let me have this moment. God. I swear sometimes. You guys, and your hypothetical shaking of heads. Oh, by the way, Flipnote Studio 3D is going to be free in February for all Club Nintendo members. Yeah. So Pokken, the tournament fighting game that is coming to arcades and presumably Wii U at some point, Bandai Namco, the people that are developing Pokken Tournament, have unveiled new characters, such as Pikachu, Galdivor, Susini. I guess you can also unlock powerful attacks and partner characters that can be called into battle. So it's basically like, Tekken Tag sort of. You can call these people into battle. I don't know, guys. Is it just me, or is a Pokemon fighting game just feel like, I don't know, a ROM hack? It doesn't feel like this should be a real game. It's not what I want from Pokemon. And, we can all say it once again. Where's the console Pokemon game that we all want? Or the MMO Pokemon game online. They can play with everybody. But no. We get a fighting game. Hooray. I mean, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company are not making this. This is Bandai Namco, so whatever. Blah, blah, blah. But seriously, right into the show. PRESSURECAST@gmail.com. Do you really give a shit about a Pokemon fighting game? Do you really give a shit about Pikachu and Galvador punching each other? Is that really what you want? I don't think it is. I don't think there's anyone out there that cares about this. I mean, what is the crossover between Tekken fans and Pokemon fans? Whatever. Let's move on, because I could go on about that for way too long. Sony is finally set out the 10% discount, which of course will expire on the 26th of January. You will be able to get 10% off your entire cart on the PlayStation Network. However, Sony had to apologize because if you try to use it on, PlayStation Now, Music Unlimited, pre-ordering games, those are not applicable to the coupon. What the hell, Sony? What the hell? Don't tell me I can use it on anything in my cart and then not let me do it. They have apologized. So there's that. I mean, honestly, when I heard about that 10% discount, the only thing I was looking at were games I could pre-order. Because I didn't really want anything else. I said, oh, okay, Grim Fandango. Sure, I'll pre-order that. I'll get 10% off. It's not a whole chunk of change, but whatever. And you can't? Come on. Well, Sony is also finally giving away free stuff for those affected by the 2011, hacker thing when PSN went down and it was a huge security breach and some people had identity theft. It was really bad. Well, guess what? You can pick from the following games on your PlayStation 3. Dead Nation, Infamous, Little Big Planet, Super Stardust HD, Rain, Puppeteer, Invisimals, Lost Kingdom, God of War HD, Or on the PSP, if you still have a PSP. By the way, I love the PSP. I really do. I think it was a fantastic handheld. You can pick from Little Big Planet, Mod Nation Racers, Patapon 3, Killzone Liberation, Wipeout Pure, and Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. Man, that Siphon Filter game was pretty damn good, but wow, what was that, like 2007? 2006? I just remember it came out on the PlayStation 2 as well. I believe that was the last Siphon Filter game. What a bummer. What a bummer. Or you can pick from, free dynamic themes. If that's really your thing. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Drive Club has 5 new tracks, and they are based around Japan. Okay. Remember during E3 when they were talking about that show Powers? Brian Michael Bendis was on stage and everyone was just like, oh my God, why are you here? Honestly, I felt bad for Brian Michael Bendis. This is funny. The last time I did a solo show, I think I was sitting here saying the exact same thing. I feel bad for Brian Michael Bendis. He had no business being there, though. Well, Powers, based off of the Brian Michael Bendis comic book, will begin airing on March 10th. It'll come out every Tuesday. Okay. There you go. I guess, I hope that show is good, but I don't know if I want exclusive television shows on my consoles, period. Netflix? Sure. WWE Network? Fine. PlayStation? Xbox? Freaking Pikmin episodes on Wii U? No! Stop it! Stop it! You're being silly. I mean, really? Whatever. I guess Sony, they sunk a lot of money into this, but I mean, it's going to come to Crackle, right? It's got to. Leaving it on PlayStation, it's ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a report that The Elder Scrolls Online was being taken down from shelves at EB Games in Australia. I think it was EB in Australia. This led to a lot of speculation that the game was going free to play. That's why they were taking it off of shelves. And there was already a quick response saying, no, that's not what's going on. See, we're just, it's something to do with stock. Nothing big, just rotating stock. I don't know, like it's a bunch of eggs or fruit or whatever. I took them at face value and went, oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, guess what? Starting March 17th, all you have to do is buy the game, and then there will be no fees. However, you will be able to spend extra money to, get all of the DLC and more crowns. I mean, this makes sense. I mean, the game is actually going to change its name entirely to The Elder Scrolls Online Tamarill? What? These are made-up words, people. Don't be mad at me. Tamarill Unlimited. I mean, when it comes to consoles, I think that's smart. I mean, wasn't there a story that The Elder Scrolls Online would be, on PlayStation 4. You could play it online. You could pay for the subscription and play it, whether or not you had a PlayStation Plus account. But on Xbox One, you had to have a gold account. This was a story. They actually talked about this. Well, I guess we don't need to worry about that anymore. All you would-be adventurers will be able to play on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on June 9th. That's actually pretty smart. I gotta give them credit. If I was going to release an MMO on consoles, I would release it during summer. There's nothing out during summer. So, for like the next 3 months, you get people hooked on your game. And yeah, they'll spend real-world money when they're like, oh, okay, if I just give them $10 here, I get all this stuff. Sure, why not? Smart move. Very, very smart move. Anyway, that's not going to be the only MMO that will be coming out pretty soon. Although I guess this isn't really an MMO. Kind of, sort of. I don't know what you'd call this. It's almost like Phantasy Star Online. What am I talking about? Borderlands, the Handsome Collection, will be coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4 in March. When's the exact date? I can't find the exact date on here. How embarrassing. This is not a professional podcast. Anyway, you might be saying, hey, what the heck is the Handsome Collection? Well, it is Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at 1080p, running up to 60 frames a second. It's going to come with all the DLC for Borderlands 2, and they say all the DLC for Borderlands the pre-sequel. I don't know if I buy that just yet. I don't know how trustworthy that is. The game's going to be out on March 24th. So, here's what they have listed for Borderlands the pre-sequel for DLC. Handsome Jack Doppelganger Pack. Ultimate Vault Hunter Upgrade Pack, the Holodome Onslaught. Shock Drop Slaughter Pit. Upcoming Season Pass content, which includes a playable class, and upcoming Season Pass content for a campaign. Here's my thing. When you look at all the DLC that was released on Borderlands 2, I mean, it's literally a wall of text. It's huge. I would be incredibly surprised if, for whatever reason, Gearbox said, that's enough. We put out enough stuff for the pre-sequel. I mean, if this game sells well, and I imagine it will, people love Borderlands, and they want to be able to play Borderlands on a new system, which, by the way, pre-sequel is excellent. I thought it was better than Destiny. That's not saying much, but really, I mean, if you like Destiny, you probably should check out the pre-sequel. I had a blast with it. Check it out. There's on the YouTube, go on the first hour. By the way, the YouTube is still youtube.com/games under pressure. We won't be able to change the name until it reaches 500 subscribers, which obviously we will because I mumble over my own words over and over and over again. So yeah, check that out if you want to see some footage of that game. I think it'll look incredible. I mean, have you guys seen Borderlands on PC? It looks so much better than console. Not to say that it looks bad on console. The cel-shaded graphics have always made it look pretty good. But, man, it's hard to go back once you see it on PC. Well, worry no more. March 24th, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Moving on. All right. Show of hands, everybody. Show of hands. Who knows about White Knuckle LLC? No? Never heard of them? Well, they filed a patent in 2002 so that they could hold a patent for updating video games based off of real world changes. Okay? I don't know what that means either. Don't worry about it. It's okay. They eventually got that patent in September of 2013. And now they are suing Electronic Arts for all of their sports games. I guess UFC wasn't counted in here, but we're talking like all the NCAAs, all the Tiger Woods, all the NHLs, all the Maddens, I assume. I mean, there's a lot of games in here. As far as I know, they're suing Electronic Arts for, well, all the profit that they made from those 9 sports games. I guess it is just NCAA, Tiger Woods, and yeah, that's it. Tiger Woods and NCAA. So they actually had this guy. He was speaking for White Knuckle, and he says, "I'm affiliated with the company. It's pretty informal. My role is company counsel. The focus of White Knuckle IP is to license to EA Sports. EA knows about us. We've sent them certified mail letters. They just ignore us. I copied and pasted a complaint from another case. It's just a lawsuit for patent infringement." EA can't catch a break. I mean, EA's already had enough problems when they got sued by, NCAA, and they lost. The former NCAA players. Then right now they're getting sued by the former NFL players, and it's not looking too good. Who knows? I mean, and now they're getting sued by these guys. How much is EA paying in legal fees this time? How much money are they investing into this? I mean, that's a huge distraction for them. Of course, EA had no comment. Okay, EA. Go ahead. Say nothing. Okay. I mean, I guess it's better than what they said when they were getting sued by those former NFL players about, the First Amendment. First Amendment. Come on. All right. So, if you are looking forward to Dying Light, good for you. You can play it on January 27th. Everybody's happy about that. Except if you live in Australia or Asia or Europe or the Middle East, because physical copies of the game were delayed until February 27th. Now, you can still download it, but some regions aren't very good for the internet. It costs a lot to download even an update for them, let alone a whole game on a brand new console. Come on! Luckily, Techland gets that. They're the developers of Dying Light, by the way. In case you don't know, it's Techland. And they have actually made an offer for people who purchase the physical version of the game. They will actually get the Cruise and Cargo, as well as the Ultimate Survivor Bundle DLC for free. Give them credit. Give them credit. I actually really appreciate that because, delays are often met with just kind of like, well, we're sorry about that, especially for, European territories. They kind of get screwed over. A lot of these areas do when it comes to game releases. And the idea that Techland's like, you know what? We feel bad about that. I tell you what, if you want that game on disc, we're going to give you free stuff. Now, I don't know if you actually have to download those DLCs. Now that I think about that, it kind of screws you anyway. I guess the internet's not too hot in Australia either. It's not supposed to be too great. Anyway, speaking of zombies, Dead Rising Watchtower. That's the upcoming film based off of Dead Rising, starring Rob Riggle as Frank West. I don't know. They released the trailer. It looked okay. Maybe it might be taking itself a bit too seriously. I can't really tell. The guy does look a lot like Frank West, including the outfit. I was pretty impressed. You might want to check that out. But speaking of movies, no! Speaking of movies, I can't stop crying. Milla Jovovich, she said that the 6th Resident Evil film is coming and it's going to be called The Final Chapter. Why? Why? Why do you keep making these awful Resident Evil movies? Can I tell you guys something? Let me tell you something. I was one of the biggest Resident Evil fans. I was head over heels in love with Resident Evil. I bought the comic books. I read fan fiction. I don't know if I should be admitting that. Probably shouldn't admit that. Just ignore what I just said there. I played all the games. I had Resident Evil in the big box. I had Director's Cut. I had Director's Cut Dual Shock Edition. I had Resident Evil 2. I think I even had another version of Resident Evil 2. I mean, I bought Code Veronica, Resident Evil 3. I mean, I bought everything. I bought a Dex drive just to play as Tofu because I couldn't beat the game fast enough. And Hunk, So don't tell me I'm not a Resident Evil fan, damn it. When that movie came out, it literally squeezed everything about that game series I love. It squeezed everything I love out of me. I could never look at Resident Evil the same. It was such a bad movie. It had nothing to do with Resident Evil. Now you might say, oh yeah, sure it did. It was, sure it had, Umbrella and the dogs and zombies. No. Play the original Resident Evil and then go watch that movie. Or hell, play any Resident Evil before that movie comes out. Not a one is like that. Dodging lasers and... God damn it. That movie ruined me. It literally ruined me for Resident Evil. I mean, I can still go back to the old games and I can really get into them, but not the same level as I used to be. And the fact that those movies became so popular blew my mind. There's not one good Resident Evil movie. So, the one with Nemesis, that was actually pretty good. No! You're lying to yourself, and you're lying to other people. Those Resident Evil movies are garbage. They're trash. They're utter crap. The only good quality is that, well, you can kind of laugh at them. They're so ridiculously stupid. I mean, do you see the one with Wesker? I mean, I hope to God there's not multiple ones with Wesker. I just saw the ending to it. It was insane. He's getting stabbed in the head, pulling knives out of his head. Don't support these movies. Stop it. Stop it. Seriously. No more. They are absolute trash. And you know why I'm really, really pissed? I mean, I'm blanking on the dude's name right now, so don't get pissed. But George Romero, Dawn of the Dead director. He was lined up to direct the original Resident Evil movie, and it was based off of the first game. It was going to have the mansion in it. You could go online. You could read the script. It's a good script. Maybe it would have been bad at the end because, hey, Romero's not quite as good as he used to be. But instead, he just directed a commercial for Resident Evil 2, I want to say. And that was only in Japan. That commercial was insane. That commercial was awesome. You got to go check it out. And instead, we got this crappy Matrix wannabe, with just like barely any winks or nods to the video game series. It was in a giant sterile lab. Where were there sterile labs in Resident Evil? All the labs were like broken down and spooky, and there were giant plants and sharks and shit. Not this white room with lasers. Good God. Fuck those movies. Anyway. I'm sorry. But seriously, that movie was garbage. Movie's utter trash. No redeeming qualities. Anyway, Ubisoft has announced Grow Home. This is going to be a platformer starring Bud, who's like a robot. Kind of reminds me of Iron Giant in his design. Doesn't look like Iron Giant, but there is kind of like an influencing factor there. He's going to try to escape an island, I want to say, by using a series of beanstalks, and he'll help them grow. And I guess it's procedurally generated. It just looks pretty cool. It's a rather small team, and it's actually going to be coming out on February 4th. Yeah, seriously, February 4th. Talk about just like announced to release, like the quickest ever. It's crazy. Speaking of PC games, because that, by the way, Grow Home is a PC game. I don't know if I established that, but it is. So don't get on your Dreamcasts and say, where the hell's Grow Home? I'm not listening to that podcast no more. He tricked me. Because I didn't do that. Steam Broadcasting is out of beta. It's kind of exciting. You can, stream your games right now. You can have access to this in the client, the Steam client. It's so boring of a story. But, good for Steam trying to create an alternative to Twitch. I think that's really good. Because Twitch, I think, has rested on its laurels for far too long. The servers are trash. I'm over here in Milwaukee. That's Midwest. In case you don't know. You know where Chicago is? Right by Milwaukee. About 100 miles. Maybe less. They used to have a server for Twitch for Chicago, and then they just shut it down. Why? Why would you do that? They're like, I guess people weren't using it. But I think they shut it down before, and I might be mistaken, but they shut it down before the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out, which exposed Twitch to a mainstream audience. That's not to say Twitch was small before, but, I like watching things on Twitch. I hate streaming from Twitch. There's just too much jitter. I've gone through all the services I can. So, Steam, more power on you. If anybody could pull it off, I bet it would be Steam. I would say Google, but, they're not involved in that anymore. Well, maybe they will be. I tried some YouTube streaming. That's pretty excellent. I thought that worked rather well. Anyway, moving on. DMI. You ever heard of DMI? Neither have I. They've never made a game. So why are we talking about DMI? Well, they have the exclusive rights to NASCAR. Now, I don't watch NASCAR. I don't. No interest. Don't care for it. Don't want to watch racing. All right? Maybe some of you listeners like NASCAR. More power to you. This story will pertain to you. But I can understand the significance of the NASCAR license. NASCAR is very popular. Make no mistake about it. NASCAR is huge. Even if you don't like it, it's big, big money. And those games do quite well, rather consistently. I mean, they did have dipping sales, I want to say, over the past couple of years. But this game won't come out until 2016 on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. But what's important to note is that DMI is an American developer. And previously, the games were actually developed by a studio in the UK. And all right, let me just try this. Eutechnics? I guess that's the company was called Eutechnics. They actually had a statement about this. NASCAR is an all-American and benefits from a strong U.S. influence in development, marketing, and production. The proposal made by DMI to be run out of Charlotte, North Carolina, best suited Eutechnics and NASCAR's ambitions for the future of the franchise. So good for them. NASCAR is finally back in America. Does anyone else in the world actually care about NASCAR? I'm being serious. I know racing is big everywhere else in the world. Like, if you go to France, they're like, hell yeah, NASCAR. That is very offensive impersonation of French person. I'm sorry. Hypothetical French person. That was messed up. Well, is NASCAR a sport? I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that. I know it requires a lot of, physical skill and endurance. But I know what is a sport. Football. More specifically, mutant football. That's right. Mutant Football League. Not to be confused with Mutant League Football. Long story. They don't own the rights to it. Long story. They had a Kickstarter way back in 2013 that they failed to reach. They were hoping to get $750,000 and they only got $141,000. Oops. Well, it's not over. Apparently, they are still continuing to develop this game, and they plan on releasing it in July 2015 for Xbox Live. That's pretty exciting. Or that's at least what they originally planned on doing. They said they're going to try and release it by the end of 2015. By the way, Digital Dreams, I'm not sure who's exactly involved in that studio, but from what I saw on the Kickstarter, it looked pretty cool. I liked the Mutant League games. I thought Mutant Hockey was awesome. I wish they had more of them. So cool. It would be nice to actually have a sports title that A, doesn't require the NFL license, and B, doesn't take itself too seriously. I think that was kind of the problem with Blitz, is that because it needed the NFL license to be like, whoa, look how crazy we are. Because when they tried making Blitz the league, it was kind of like, it's not real teams. When you've got a damn skeleton and a gargoyle playing football, right away, you don't care. You don't care if they're Bears fans or Packer fans or Seahawks fans. You're like, God damn, I want to check out this crazy league. So, pay attention to that. Blaze Blue Battle Cards mobile card game is actually getting a release in America at some point in early 2015. Do Blaze Blue fans really want a fighting game? Do Blaze Blue fans really want a card battling game? Blaze Blue is a fast game. It's a good game. I like Blaze Blue. Well, not as much as I like Guilty Gear, but I like Blaze Blue. It's very fast-paced. I feel like this is just more for card fans, you know? Okay, we have the latest Call of Duty Zombies mode. Oh my God. John Malkovich, Bill Paxton, Rose McGowan, and John Bernthal are going to be in the game, I guess. I still think, personally, the best version of Zombies is when you were playing as like Nixon and JFK. I thought that was so awesome. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I actually bought Black Ops just to play as Robert McNamara. Seriously. Go watch Fog of War, kids. Great documentary. Robert Bowling, he actually tried to start up a studio after he left Infinity Ward in 2012. and he was going to create a free-to-play game with Nexon, the South Korean publisher. It was going to be called Human Element. And here's the thing. He actually saw it a couple of months ago at the Game Awards, if you remember. Apparently his studio is shutting down. I want to thank every single person who supported us along this journey. It was an experience of a lifetime, and we learned a lifetime of experience. I feel so bad for this guy. He left the sure thing. He left Infinity Ward. That's sure money. Guaranteed success. For at least the near future. To go out on his own and start his own studio, and what happens? It gets closed down before he can even release a game. That's gotta hurt. I hope he sticks it out. I hope he continues along and tries to develop something unique, because, you can go back to Infinity Ward, and you can, help develop another Call of Duty, but I don't know. I feel bad for him. Star Wars Battle Pod is in arcades. Yes. You can have the Death Star battle, escape from Hoth, fly some speeder bikes at Endor, or have Darth Vader versus the Rebel Alliance. This is a new arcade game from Bandai Namco. Seriously. Yeah. I guess you'll be on a speeder bike in the game, and it will simulate the blowing of air. I would like to check it out. I'm still a big fan of arcade games. There's just something about it. You can never actually take the arcade experience home, unless you take an arcade cabinet home. But even then, it's not the same. Going into an arcade, hearing all that noise, hearing people yell, hearing the sound of coins dropping out of the coin machine, you can't replace that. You can't. No one can. Star Wars is also coming, or actually already came, to Good Old Games. This is so nuts. They've actually announced Star Wars Rogue Squadron. How crazy is that? That came out in 1998 on the 64 and PC. You can now download it at Good Old Games. So cool. So cool. Of course, the X-Wing games already came out on there. But you'll also be able to pick up the strategy game Empire at War Gold Pack. I remember that game being a huge deal at one of those E3s. Like when PC games weren't doing so hot, that was actually a standout. As well as Star Wars Rebellion. I love this. I love Good Old Games. They are somehow pulling these games out of the depth. I was worried about them. After Disney bought, Star Wars, I started to think, well, okay, never going to see Grim Fandango again. Well, yes, we are. Well, probably not going to see those Star Wars games again. Huh? Yes, we are. How great is that? How awesome is that? It's like Disney buying Star Wars is the best thing that ever happened. Until we see that movie. Cross your fingers, kids. Might be horrible. Oh, yeah, and, obviously, Dark Forces, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and Battlefront 2 are also on Good Old Games. But I think those are pretty easy to find still. Anyway, Deep Silver is going to re-release the free-to-play version of All Points Bulletin on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Yes, you heard that right. All Points Bulletin is coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Okay. You know what? If you've never seen that game, you probably have, because so many jerks would just go on YouTube and say, "Oh my God, Grand Theft Auto first footage," and they would just show All Points Bulletin footage. People would be like, "Well, yeah, that looks legit," because they wouldn't recognize the game. That's how poorly APB did. It was so. I remember when they canceled the subscription service and it was free to play, free to download, and there were still copies on retail shelves. Ouch. Ouch. But I don't know. I mean, like, I guess, why not? More stuff for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, the better. Theater Rhythm. You remember Theater Rhythm? That's the Final Fantasy game where it's a rhythm game. They have released new tracks. And here's what's interesting about them. Some of the tracks are based off of Chrono Trigger. And some of the tracks, well, one of the tracks is based off of The World Ends With You. Which is pretty cool. Because I just don't think Chrono Trigger and The World Ends With You get enough of due. In fact, here's the thing. Why have they not released a sequel to The World Ends With You yet? Why not? It's not even being developed. What's going on? There are so many hardcore fans for that series. And you think they're not going to tell everybody when a sequel comes out? You think they're not going to be boring the person at the post office next to them going, hey, by the way, did you ever hear about this game, The World Ends With You? They have the sequel that's going to be coming out. It's coming to 3DS as well as the PlayStation 4. And you know what I mean? It's free marketing, Square Enix. What is Japan doing right now? Working on Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. You tell me a small team can't work on The World Ends With You? Come on. Alien Isolation has sold over 1 million copies. That's a tragedy. I hated that game. Did not care for it. Loved the posters. Loved the art style. Hate the game. Game of Thrones Episode 2 is going to be released on February 3rd for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PC, and Mac. February 4th for Xbox One, Xbox 360, and February 5th for iOS and Android. I played the first episode of that. I have a video of it online. YouTube.com/GamesUnderPressure. It's the Game of Thrones first hour. It was okay. You jump from character to character, kind of like the show, even though I've actually never seen the show. It didn't really help it. It actually kind of made it more difficult to follow in some ways. You never really got your bearings or understood the character you were playing as. Oh well. Hey, do you have a copy of Trials Fusion on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One or PC? Welcome to multiplayer. Yes, the online multiplayer that was offered so long ago is finally coming on January 27th, which is pretty great. Now, I actually bought a disc version of that game. It was almost a year ago. It's hard to believe. And yeah, I mean, I got the season pass then, because they're also having Fire in the Deep. It's going to be released on the same day. It'll be $5, or spend $20 and get the season pass. Here's what I would recommend. If you got an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4, just look for a physical copy. It comes with the season pass, and a lot of games have been going on sale lately. So you might even be able to get it for $20. Why not? You get everything. Didact's Silence is officially coming to the PlayStation 4. This, of course, is the adventure game that was already coming out on Xbox One, Mac, and PC. It looks pretty cool. Here's a quote from Stefan Booz. This makes Silence a full-fledged multi-platform project, as for the first time, we can release a game for the high-end current-gen consoles, which is an important cornerstone for the company. We strongly believe that narrative-driven games like ours will be well-received among console gamers. Sweet. Can't wait. Why not? It's coming out at some point in 2015. We don't know. No release yet. No release date yet. Speaking of no release dates, Mortal Kombat X. Are they calling it X or are they calling it 10? Does anyone... Can you email me right now and let me know? PRESSURECAST@gmail.com. You can send me the information right there. You can do that for me. And we'll talk on the internet. And I'll say, hey, buddy. Hey, what are they calling that crazy new Mortal Kombat game? They calling that 10? They calling that X? Oh, you can do whatever you want. Anyway, Ed Boon has said that on January 29th, that's a Thursday, by the way, next Mortal Kombat X character reveal in-depth gameplay demonstration. Thursday, January 29th, Twitch TV. So we're getting more characters. Sweet. I'm really curious to see how big the roster is going to be, because the roster was freaking huge in the last Mortal Kombat. It was basically Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I loved that Mortal Kombat. It came out in 2011. God, that's hard to believe. Yeah. 2011. That's 4 years ago. Wow. Okay. Great game. Highly recommend it. By the way, Indigo Prophecy is going to be re-released as Indigo Prophecy Remastered on January 29th. Yes. Apparently it's going to have high definition graphics. Okay. Here's the thing, guys. I actually played Indigo Prophecy for the first time last year. All the way through. I'd never beaten the game. No joke. I actually sat there and I played the entire game. If you played the first maybe hour, 2 hours of that game, you'll be blown away. It will just be so incredible. If you beat the game, you're not gonna be happy. It's garbage. That game has some of the worst writing of a third act I've ever seen. Like, ever. Like, I was totally into this story. I was so intrigued. And then out of nowhere, it just turns to crap. I don't want to spoil anything in case you're going to pick it up. I mean, it's so shockingly bad. I don't want to spoil it. Of course, they would later go on to develop, Heavy Rain, Two Souls, whatever the fuck was it? Beyond Two Souls? Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. I'm really excited to see what Quantum Dream does next. Because I actually really think those games are awesome. Heavy Rain was great. I love Heavy Rain. I don't care what you think. FYI, A Bard's Tale is going to be released again. Wait, how did I say that? I said it all wrong. They're actually making a fourth game in the Bard's Tale series. Okay, is that better? We don't know anything about when it'll be released or anything like that. It was announced at PAX South, which, by the way, that's going on right now. So if I missed any stories about Borderlands 3, because I know they made reference to it, I'm sorry. In Exile Entertainment has said they will be developing the fourth Bard's Tale title. One of the guys from In Exile Entertainment said, "This is a special game for me. It was the first game that really put Interplay on the map, and just happens that this will fall on the 30th anniversary. I don't think in this day and age we can make you break out the graph paper. We might have a hardcore mode for that." That's pretty funny. That's going to do it for the news, everybody. How are we doing so far? What do you think? Solo episode. It's weird. I'll admit it. It's kind of strange. Made a few mistakes. Maybe I might have edited some stuff out. You don't know. I'm fine out. I did play a couple of games this week, and I thought I would share with you. I had the opportunity to play Saints Row 4 Get Out of Hell, which, of course, you can check out on the YouTube page, youtube.com/gamesunderpressure. I really want to change that URL, and I can't change it until I get 500 subscribers. So please, help me get 500 subscribers so I can change the damn name. Saints Row Get Out of Hell. So if you played Saints Row 4, that game had a lot of different ideas that it introduced, including essentially superpowers. You were kind of living in the Matrix, and you could run super fast, you could jump up buildings, you could hover in the air, you could shoot energy waves, stuff like that. Well, Saints Row 4 Get Out of Hell keeps all of those mechanics, as well as it introduces small things here or there, like Gat, who you're playing as, Johnny Gat, can use wings instead of just hovering. Let's start over here for a second. The boss, aka the president of the world, he gets kidnapped and taken into hell by an evil Ouija board. I don't really know why Satan wants him yet, so Johnny Gat and Kinsey go to hell to save him. Man, I just get bored talking about this. The intro is really funny. But once you get into the world, and I'm playing this on PlayStation 4, the frame rate just goes all over the place. From the very first moment you can rotate the camera, you're kind of like, oh, that's 40 frames. We're back up to 60, 40. We're down to, no, we're going to 30. Now we're going back up to 60 just by rotating the camera. Watch the video. You'll see it. It's shockingly bad. Anyway, so you get into the game, and instead of having civilians, they're all zombies. It's an all-new environment, but the gameplay is essentially the same. Go here, do that, kill this many people. Side activities such as steal an ambulance. It's called Rambulance, and then run over 200 people so that you can get Satan's attention so that you can rescue the boss I don't know. Here's my problem. I said in the video, when you're playing Saints Row, and here's the problem I also had with Saints Row 4. When you're playing Saints Row the Third, it's the real world, okay? And because it's the real world, there's something really hilarious about running up and hitting somebody with a dildo. Or having a giant plane shoot a laser beam. That's funny. There's this whole idea about comedy. Flexibility and the inflexible world. The characters in Saints Row are flexible, but live in an inflexible world. One that's very rigid and stiff and is saying, no, you darn saints, stop what you're doing. By part 4, you're living in the internet and you have superpowers. The world is flexible and you're flexible. That's not so good. And now we have the ultimate almost betrayal of that by being in hell. If I blow up a car, the world still looks like shit. You know what I mean? The world will always look like shit. It's just gray and dirty. I can't hurt hell. Yeah, I can blow up cars, but what effect am I really having? When I'm in a pristine city, a perfect city, and I crash my plane right into a building, parachute out, and then just like punch somebody in the jaw while I'm falling from the sky, that's crazy. If I do it in hell, the world's too flexible. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Flexible, inflexible. So, yeah, and besides that, the gameplay is pretty much identical from Saints Row 4, which wasn't really my bag. You always have too many powers. But I will say the cutscenes are done pretty well, and, you get to hang out with William Shakespeare, because he's in hell, but his mission literally involves just, like a horde mode. Like, wave after wave of monsters in a small area, and you just shoot them. It's really boring. So, get out of hell. I guess people are charging $20 for it? Get the fuck out. As for Saints Row 4 on PlayStation 4, frame rate issues. Still has a ton of frame rate issues. But I'll say I like Saints Row 4 much more than Get Out of Hell. If only for being a little more stiff of a world. I hate to keep making that analogy, but trust me, it makes the most sense to me. Moving on, Resident Evil came out on the GameCube way back in 2012 with the Resident Evil remake. Well, that remake has now been re-released onto Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. And yeah, I played on the PlayStation 4. It runs around 30 frames a second. It is 1080p, very beautiful. It's the exact same game. I mean, the only thing that's really different is that they removed that GameCube from that side mission. There was like a GameCube that was part of a puzzle. All in all, though, I've never been a huge fan of this remake. I love the original Resident Evil. Do we really need to get into this again? I already went through it earlier in the show. If you were paying attention, great. I love the original Resident Evil. I beat it dozens of times. I beat it in under 3 hours just to get the unlimited ammo rocket launcher. Love that game. Seriously, adore it. Can't get enough of it. The remake to me has always felt like a bad version of like Master Quest, where it's so dependent on you having knowledge of the previous version that it really feels tacked on. Like all the new environments are simply literally tacked on to previous environments. It's not like they introduce a new room in the mansion. They introduce a new door where there used to be a wall at the end of a hallway. You know what I mean? Like everything is literally glued to the ends of stages. And so it never really feels that good. And the puzzles are just a bit too obtuse. My biggest issue is just that it doesn't seem to have a free-flowing narrative. Like you just get lost in this mansion. Every door is locked. Whereas in the previous Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil, when you would walk into a room, something would happen to at least communicate to you that you were on the right path. It would communicate, hey, you went into this hallway? Well, here's a dog jumping out a window at you. You better go the opposite direction. You better run to that next door. It was forward-moving momentum, whereas the remake just, I don't know. Never did it for me. It was, honestly, it was the remake and the movie, because they came out pretty close together. Just destroyed my love of Resident Evil. I played Gun Survivor, damn it. I sat through it all, man. So, I mean, if you love that remake, go ahead and get it. You're going to love this. It's perfect for you. But if you're like me and it really wasn't your bag back then, it's not going to change your mind now. I do love the Crimson Heads when you kill a zombie and then you come back later and they're in super rage fast mode. I thought that was cool. Good way to add tension. I like all the enemies. It's just the new environments and puzzles just wear on me. Man. Finally, I did get a chance to play Punch-Out on the Wii U, the re-release of the Wii title. Man, I love Punch-Out. Dodge left, dodge right, block, and duck. Holy crap. I liked it so much that I made a video on it for the first hour, as I did with Resident Evil and Get Out of Hell. And then I made a video of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream. I'm dead serious. I made another video just because I was like, screw it, I want to buy this. Because I saw that, it wasn't part of Nintendo's rewards for Club Nintendo. And that was like, oh, well, I'll just buy it. Because it was like $5. Whatever. And I'm probably going to be making a video of Super Punch-Out. No one's going to watch them. Just like no one's listening to this part of the show, I'm assuming. Because come on, we're an hour and 10 minutes in. Most people don't make it this late into the podcast. If you did, give me a shout out. Mention this somewhere. Email me or leave a message on the YouTube or whatever. Good for you. You get brownie points. Super Punch-Out, just a great game. Yeah, it has incredibly horrific, insulting racial tones. I guess that's the one thing that kind of pisses me off about the Wii Punch-Out is that Super Punch-Out kind of pulled back from a lot of the more racist elements, and the Wii version of Punch-Out just reinstated them. Like Tiger, the Great Tiger or whatever, he has a fucking magic carpet. I thought he was from India. Is that joke? Magic carpets are from India now? I don't know. Like it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But they do have some characters that are not based around stereotypes, like Disco Kid. I thought was pretty good. I mean, for the love of God, they show Bear Hugger drinking a whole thing of maple syrup, and they just put the Canadian flag on there just to be like, see, now you know a little bit more about Canada. Come on. I for $10 though, yeah, great game, great gameplay, very problematic messages in that game though. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of the PRESSURECAST. Remember, guys, go to videogamesaredumb.com. Yes, videogamesaredumb.com. That's the new website for the PRESSURECAST. Next week, we'll have some real guests, so that'll be cool. We'll actually have people to chit-chat with instead of just me and you having a conversation. I hope you were talking back the entire time, because I know I was. I don't want this to be one-sided, guys. So keep talking to your iPod, okay? You can reach me on Twitter at Dr. Crychop. That's at Dr. Crychop. Remember, you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Don't forget to tell a friend or write a review. It's always appreciated. And that'll do it for this week of the PRESSURECAST. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry. We'll be back next week. For the PRESSURECAST is forever. PRESSURECAST, weekly video game news podcast, is solely owned and operated by Colin Tanner. All guests featured on the PRESSURECAST are not freelancers or employees of the PRESSURECAST. Music used on the PRESSURECAST is property of the respective owners, and no infringement is intended. For questions, email pressurecast@gmail.com.